You know that feeling when the year starts to wrap up? There's this pull in the air, a desire for a fresh start, a reset. We all feel it. But what if the way we've been taught to reset is actually all wrong? What if it's making things harder, not easier?
So just for a second, what does that word reset actually bring to mind for you? When you hear it, what's the first thing you picture? I'm willing to bet that for most of us, it's a whole lot of chaos, kind of like this.
Yeah, it's an explosion of more goals to hit, more discipline to enforce, new habits to build, which all just adds up to more pressure. And we all know how this story usually ends, right? It's a full-on sprint that leaves us totally burnt out in a few weeks, feeling even worse than when we started.
Well, there's actually a name for this method of just piling things on. It's called the additive approach. And here's its biggest flaw. Instead of giving you that clarity you're looking for, all it does is create more noise.
So what even is this noise? Well, think of it as the buildup of everything we collect over time. You know, old habits we don't even think about, expectations from other people, all those digital distractions, and even commitments we said yes to ages ago that just don't make sense for us anymore. On their own, they might seem small, but altogether, they create this constant, low-grade hum in the background that just drowns out our own sense of direction.
And this is where you can really see the two paths side by side. That additive reset on the left, it just feels heavy. It piles on the pressure, adds to the noise, and let's be real, it usually fails. But then look at the subtractive reset. It's the total opposite. It's all about creating space, which leads to clarity. It feels lighter, and it's the thing that actually helps you move forward.
Which brings us to this really powerful shift in perspective. A real, lasting reset isn't about adding more stuff onto an already shaky foundation. It has nothing to do with addition. It is, quite simply, all about removal.
And this, right here, is the subtractive reset. It's not some loud, dramatic New Year's resolution-style overhaul. Nope, it's a quiet, really intentional process of letting things go. It's about clearing out all that clutter so you can finally see the path that was buried underneath it all along.
And here's where it gets really different. Instead of that brute force approach of just adding new habits, a subtractive reset starts somewhere much, much quieter. It's not about forcing yourself into action, it's about reflection. It all starts with asking yourself a few simple but very honest questions.
So that's the big question, isn't it? This all sounds great, but where do you actually start? How do you do it? Well, it begins with asking yourself 3 very specific questions.
Now, the important thing here isn't to have the perfect answers right away. It's just to sit with these and be really honest. First, what am I doing just because I'm used to doing it? Think about those autopilot habits. Second, what drains my energy without giving any clarity back in return? And finally, this one's a big one. What activities look productive but don't actually move me forward?
Because when you start to actually identify those things, the habits, the tasks, the commitments, and you give yourself permission to let them go, something pretty amazing starts to happen.
You might think that removing things would leave you feeling empty, right? Like there's a void. But that's not what happens at all. Instead, you just feel lighter. Your thinking gets clearer. Suddenly, making decisions is easier because you've finally turned down the volume on all that noise that was clouding your judgment. This is the whole chain reaction. You could call it the clarity pathway. When you subtract, you create space. That newfound space is what allows clarity to finally emerge from the noise. And once you have that clarity, that's when you get a real sense of direction. You stop trying to force progress and you just start moving with intention. So maybe the biggest takeaway from all of this is that you don't need some massive, dramatic reinvention of who you are. You don't need a punishing list of resolutions. The real power is usually so much quieter than that.
And that really is the heart of it all. The most effective way to start your next chapter isn't by adding something new, but by having the courage to let go of what you already know doesn't belong there. So, the question to leave you with isn't, what do I need to add? It's, what am I finally willing to subtract?